Our candidates have drawn lots for the order, and we will start with opening statements from the council candidates. As I say, we have 5 candidates here tonight. And our first candidate, 2-minute opening statement, Luke Coletti.
My name's Luke Coletti. I'm born and raised in Pacific Grove. Went through all the Pacific Grove schools. My father was an educator in the PG school district. He is co-founder of the community-centered high school. And after school, I lived in Japan for a year, Chicago, Santa Cruz, but then I came back to Pacific Grove. And I came back right at the time when they were doing the improvements, taking up the old Southern Pacific Railroad and putting in the rec trail. And I went down, and my mom had told me, she said, go down and look at the new rec trail. So I went down and took a look. And I just fell in love again with Pacific Grove. I had not seen it the way I guess ever before. And I still feel the same way when I go down to the coastline. And I appreciate all the work previous councils have done to keep that coastline as private property. Public property rather, owned by the city, and that's been since 1925. So the city has a real commitment to our natural resources. I'm running for re-election because I want to continue to preserve the residential character of our community, the unique quality of life we share. I will represent the interests of residents and neighborhoods, protect our natural environment, pursue affordable housing opportunities, and help our managers and consultants understand the needs and values of our community. I have authored over a dozen ordinances and policies covering government reform, the environment, land use, transparency, electricity bills, and finance. Prior to being elected to City Council, I helped author Measure M, the successful citizens initiative that limits short-term vacation rentals.
Way to go.
As a priority, I think we must prioritize the upkeep of our city. Including our business districts. This means better maintenance, landscaping, and repair of city assets. I think of Chautauqua Hall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And how will you accomplish them? What will be your biggest challenge?
Thank you. I think my first priority is to just the upkeep of the city. I mean, we see weeds in our medians, in our business district. We just need to get back to basics as far as maintaining our infrastructure and our assets. The street sweeper needs to be sweeping the street. I know this all sounds very droll, but it needs to happen, and I just think that needs to be a focus. I also want to support our capital improvement plans. A lot of it is languished. There is a backlog, but fortunately our new city manager has got his list and he's working away on it, so I have a lot of faith in that these projects will actually get done. I want to support our recreation program. That was a city council priority. And just at our last meeting, we went ahead and adopted a new fee schedule that allows residents to use our facilities at a much lower rate, including this facility, Chautauqua Hall, etc. So maintain our assets and then allow the residents to use them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, with a roundabout, the expectation, at least for the expectation for the motorist, is that you don't expect to stop. You expect to keep going. And certainly all of us that have driven through the roundabout up there at Highway 68 know that. With that in mind, that is not compatible with pedestrian safety. And that intersection serves 2 very important schools in our district. So the roundabout, I think, is and when I hear grant funding, that's speculative, and it doesn't really address the core question. Is it a good project? Is it appropriate for that intersection? And I believe the answer is no. If we are going to do something there, perhaps a 4-way stop, but someone mentioned the Forest Hill corridor, and that is where that money is supposed to be allocated. That's where it's programmed. Well, we could do a lot of other things like install sidewalks for safe travel to the schools. Thank you. Well, fundamentally, running for council is an act of volunteerism. That's how I look at it. And stipends, the stipend isn't meant to be a salary. It's meant to reimburse any out-of-pocket expenses you might have. Like if you're traveling to go to some regional meeting or something. It's not meant to supplement your income per se. It's meant to reimburse any out-of-pocket expenses. And just so you know what the stipend amount is, I believe it's $460 for council and about $720 for the mayor. I would not support raising that. And the idea that just because we're going to reduce council size, that automatically means we're going to raise the salaries. I don't think that's true at all. I think if you're going to volunteer for council, you volunteer and do the work. And it's not about getting paid. It's about doing something for your community. Thanks. This relates to Measure Z that's on the ballot. We have two measures on the ballot for Pacific Grove. Measure Z deals with the reduction in council size. 80% of California cities have 5-member bodies. Pacific Grove is an anomaly. Well, many of us already know that, but in terms of our council size, it's certainly true, because for a city of our size, 7 members is just not what you would typically see throughout California. Salinas, for example, 160,000 residents, they have a 7-member body. There are 12 cities within our county, and 7 of those 12 have by-district elections. And we just received a demand letter asking us to transition to by-district elections as well. And if we do that, that means we would divide tiny Pacific Grove up into 6 voting districts. With Measure Z, we'd only do 4. Well, first you have to define what affordable housing means. And what it means is it basically means subsidized housing. It's below market rate housing. And someone has to pay that cost difference. There are opportunities for developers to come in and build affordable units as part of, the use permit that they would get to build their development. But that typically doesn't happen. And Pacific Grove has missed out on opportunities in the past. The Holman building, we put in 25 luxury condominiums, not one single affordable housing unit. Same thing with 520, 10 condos there, no affordable housing unit. So if we're going to do affordable housing, it's going to take money, it's going to take resources. And that probably means some kind of bond measure to put before the voters. But we also have an opportunity. There was a study in 2002 done by the city that identified several hundred illegal granny units that could possibly be brought back and be used as housing, and I've advocated for that. Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Coletti is next.
Thank you. It's kind of an interesting question. I think it conflates a couple different ideas, but Carmelita is right. We do have a historic resources inventory, the HRI, that we are going through, and we are deleting some of the buildings that are currently on the HRI. But Pacific Grove has the highest density of historic homes anywhere, in the United States. We have a unique historic resources, and we have a historic preservation ordinance that I don't believe is restrictive at all. In fact, it's very generous in allowing some of these historic buildings to continue by offering generous setbacks, and to maintain older setbacks, et cetera. So I don't have any problem with our historic preservation ordinance. And as far as builder's remedy is concerned, we're already in builder's remedy because we're late in getting our housing element submitted to the state. So builder's remedy is going to be here with us for a long time, and I think we just need to get used to that.
Thank you. For the next.
The answer is sure, of course. I mean, we should partner with anyone who wants to help develop housing here. And as Carmelita mentioned, we did partner to build 49 units down at Lover's Point for the Vista Point Apartments, and they've been very successful. I know some people who live there. The reason we couldn't rent them out exclusively to Pacific Grove residents is because we accepted federal grant funding, which limited that. So I would do that, but big projects, I mean, it's always kind of been, when we discussed affordable housing in the past, the idea is that there will be this one big project that then kind of answers the problem forever. And it just doesn't work that way. We may be able to do one big project, but I think we need to look at actually doing a lot of smaller projects, including addressing all of the illegal granny units that we have counted, several hundred, the city, and get those back into compliance, and get maybe even have some water entitlements from the city's water credits to get those units online. I don't think